Yo, Wagwan. Yeah, man. Mr. Garthreed here. All right, we'll be looking at a CSEC mathematics past paper question. All right, from the May June 2017 paper. Okay, so the question says a formula is given as D is equal to the square root of 4h divided by 5. All right, and the first part of the question says determine the value of D when h is equal to 29, and you are to give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. And part 2 says, make h the subject of the formula. All right, so we're going to do part 1 first. Okay, so part 1, let us do part 1 here, solution. All right, determine the value of D when h is equal to 29. So we are given D is equal to the square root of 4h divided by 5. All right, so we're now going to substitute h as 29 into D. All right, so into D. So D is equal to the square root of 4h. H is 29, so that's 4 multiplied by 29, and we're dividing that by 5. All right, dividing that by 5. Okay, so D is equal to, now if you put in a calculator 4 multiplied by 29 and then divide it by 5, you are supposed to get a value of 23.2. All right, so we have the square root of 23.2, and if you put in a calculator the square root of that value, you should get D as 4.816637.832. All right, that is the value of D. But remember, the question said we are to give our answer to 3 significant figures. All right, so let me just write a statement here for you. All right, I'm going to write a statement here so that you remember the first significant figure, of a number, all right, is the first digit, which is not 0. All right, so with that being said, it means that D is going to be equal to, so it means that the first significant figure here is 4, right? Then 8, and then 1, all right? So it means I will have 4.8. Now, let's look beside of 1, all right? Beside of 1, we have a 6, all right? So since that value here, all right, since this value here is greater than 5, all right? So once the number is 5 or more, it means that we will have to add 1 to the previous digit. All right, so I'm gonna add 1 to 1, which is 2. Okay, so D is equal to 4.82, and that is to 3 significant figures. All right, 3 significant figures. Okay, that is the solution for part 1. Part 2, solution. All right, let's look at part 2. It says make h the subject of the formula. So we'll finish with part 1. Part 2 says make h the subject of the formula. All right, so that's what we're going to do here. So we were given D as 4h divided by 5, and we're taking the square root of that, right? So we want h as the subject, meaning that we want h on one side of the equation only, okay? So it means that I have to get rid of everything surrounding that h. I need to get rid of the 4, I need to get rid of that 5 in the denominator, and I also need to get rid of that square root, all right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is to remove the square root, okay? How do I remove the square root? So recall, all right, recall, if I have the square root of a, all right, if I have the square root of a, that can be written as a to the power of 1 over 2, right, from our laws of indices, all right? So the square root of a can be written as a to the 1 over 2. So if I square both sides of the equation now, right, so if I have the square root of a all squared, then that is going to be equal to a to the power of a half, all right? I'm squaring that, all right? I'm squaring that. So it means that I have the square root of a, all right, squared is equal to, now I can bring the power inside and multiply it by the half, all right? A to the power a half times 2. So when I do that, clearly you can see that the 2's will cancel out, okay? So the square root of a all squared is just going to give me back a, all right? The number under the number or the expression under the square root there, all right? So with that being said, if I should square both sides of the equation here, all right, so d squared is equal to 4h divided by 5, sorry, the square root of that, and I'm squaring everything. All right, I'm squaring d. So it means that d squared is going to be equal to the square root of 4h divided by 5. All right, the square root of h, the square root of 4h divided by 5. So when I do that, what will I get? The square root will cancel out and the 2 will cancel out, right? So I will now get 4h divided by 5. All right? So d squared is equal to 4h divided by 5. So what will I have now? Remember, I want h. All right? I want h. So what I'm now going to do is to get rid of this 5 as the denominator. In order to do that, I will have to multiply both sides of the equation by 5. All right? So 5 multiplied by d squared, and that is equal to 4h divided by 5 multiplied by 5. All right, I'm multiplying 5 on both sides of the equation. So when I do that, it means the 5's on the right-hand side will cancel out. All right, so on the left-hand side, I now have 5d squared, and that is equal to 4h. Okay, I'm one step closer to get h alone on this side, but here you have 4 being multiplied by h, right? 4 is being multiplied by h. So how will I get rid of this 4 here? All right, how will I get rid of that 4? It means I will have to divide both sides of the equation by 4. All right, let's do that. So I will have 5d squared, I'm dividing by 4, and that is equal to 4h divided by 4. All right, so on the right-hand side, clearly you can see that the 4's will cancel out. And I now have h, all right, I'm just gonna write the h on this side. H is equal to 5d squared, and I'm dividing that by 4. All right, and that is the solution to this question. Okay, so you wanted h as the subject, so it means that you need to get rid of everything surrounding that h. All right, we got rid of the square root first by squaring both sides of the equation. All right, we ended up with d squared equals 4h divided by 5. then now we needed to get rid of the 5. All right, we take it rid of the 5 as a denominator. So it means that you can multiply both sides of the equation by 5. Okay, so you get 5d squared equals 4h. And then 4 is being multiplied by h. So in order to get rid of the 4, you divide both sides of the equation by 4. All right, and therefore h is equal to 5d squared divided by 4. That is the solution to part 2 of this past paper question. All right, I hope this video was very clear for you. All right, and if it was helpful, please ensure to like this video and comment down below. All right, and you can also share this video with your friends and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. I am Mr. Garth Reed, student ambassador at the University of Technology, Jamaica, and I'm a mathematics teacher in training in the School of Mathematics and Statistics. I thank you for joining.